There are a couple of moments of my faith that I remember from when I was pretty young. I was told Jesus is everywhere, He's in your heart. So I thought God sat in each of our hearts and would kick at it to make each heartbeat happen. In high school, I embraced my identity as pastor's daughter and Christian, but when in the summer holidays between year 11 and 12, I went through a bit of an identity crisis. When I was walking one day, I was thinking about how each person on earth is so complicated, but also in this complicated mess, we have empathy, we have love, we feel pain, and I was like, how could this have come just from some big bang? A bit after exams, I went with Alana and Anna to Awakening. It was a really amazing night, a bit intense at times, but when one of the speakers was talking about how he had turned his life around, turned away from all his harmful coping mechanisms, I asked myself, could I do the same? Could I stop all the harmful behaviours I was engaging with? I felt it was possibly too big an ask to completely commit to, and I wanted to completely commit to whatever I promised. So I promised myself and I promised God that night that I would never again purposely harm the body He had given me, and I haven't since. So I recently went on my first Momentum camp, the Croydon Hills Youth Camp. It was an incredibly amazing weekend. After a sermon about Jesus in the storm, what is holding you back, having trust in Him, but also taking the first step to no longer be in the storm, but to reach the other side, I thought about trying the next day to not engage with any eating disorder behaviours. It was like a wave of terror came over me, so I was like, okay, I won't promise that. I can't do it. I think a part of the problem was, before then and in that moment, I was basing the possibility of getting to the other side solely upon myself, rather than the strength, peace and guidance from God that could help me. Second day of camp, in the afternoon, I was feeling pretty anxious, so I went for a run/walk. Matt picked me up and he asked me, what did I have to lose if instead of going to the bathroom the next day, I came to him or Sarah and prayed with them instead. So I was like, okay, I'm all in for one day. And it went from feeling impossible to possible. Sunday was hard. There were a couple of times when I was in a bit of a panic, but I didn't feel alone. I was asking for help, I was praying, and I discovered that worship could be a positive coping mechanism. I knew that continuing with my commitment to recovery at home was probably going to be harder than at camp. But although there were times when it was even harder and more exhausting than I thought it would be, at the same time, I was instantly and more so much more positive, hopeful, supported and grateful than I had been previously. On camp, I surrendered, and every day after, when the urge was really high to surrender again to what I had before, in those moments, I chose again to surrender to God and ask for His help. And today, when I get baptised, I'm surrendering my past, present and future to Him.